And it's not, I think it was too, for me, it was, I felt like I was shading everything else that I...
Yeah, like, I don't want niggas to know I felt, like, I feel like I felt, that's just me. If I stop doing one thing, I'm like, man, niggas will think I felt off, and I ain't just...
Well, at the end of the day, too, it wasn't even about what niggas thought to me. I stopped posting completely on anything that I was creating. It was just like, if I counted how many posts I had from the last time I had posted about one of my podcast shows to the first time that I had actually posted about something I created again, which was So Anxious. Couple pictures, and then random pictures about like maybe like me, but like it wasn't. And I also kept in mind too, this bigger than me posting these little things about little things. I want people to go to that one thing for now, the one thing. I want them to go to that thing and like associate it like off that. Every time I hear him now, it ain't.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw you at this. No, you didn't.
It's so
I'm literally focused on this.
Yeah.
There's no way that.
Yeah.
What that other merch from that other show? It ain't none. Go right here. Where's that?
I gotta get there.
That other episode of that other show you did?
Yeah.
There's not one. Check the other night for the episode of So Anxious.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, what up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Walk with Drew. My name is drewmouzon. Thank you guys for joining me. As always, I say every episode, I say I got a special guest, but you know, we got a really special guest. Every episode's a really special guest, but we got a really special guest. We got another GOAT. We just had to go on previous episodes you guys just saw, but we got another GOAT in the house. Mia Love Live. Mia Love, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Drew?
I'm good. So glad to have you on this episode. We've been talking about this for a little minute.
I'm super excited to be here, honestly.
It's been... When we talk about this, like a couple, like I want to say 6 months ago, 6 months ago.
I want to say longer than that. I want to say like.
What was it, last year?
2020.
When did we first? So this is how we met. So I had been following her. We have a mutual friend, Bird. I've been following Bird for a minute because me and Bird go to the same church. And then she started posting stuff she was doing with me. I'm like, who is this? She, you know what I'm saying? Who is this? Is she doing this stuff? It look like stuff I want to do. Who this? And Bird introduced me.
Yeah.
You know, put us in a group chat.
Literally on Instagram.
On Instagram
like,
together.
Hi, meet and meet.
Meet Drew. Leah, meet Drew. Drew, meet Mia. Okay, here you go. And I'm like, yo, you know, whatever it is, I love everything that you're doing. Want to support everything that you're doing, and we just been following each other for a minute. But I knew I wanted to get her on the show whenever I started back, so we finally were able to make it happen.
Yeah.
So if you could kind of, I know it's always a general question, but if you could kind of just tell people a little bit about yourself.
It is
It's
hard.
Very generic. It's like,
so
who is
hard,
Mia? Who is Mia Love?
Because I really be like, hi guys, I'm Mia. Mia Love Live.
Yeah.
I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, born and raised. And then I'd be confused after that. I'd be like,
So
I'm the oldest of.
I'm gonna tell her rap shit. So, if a lot of you guys know me and know what I do, and I try to host, I try to do podcasts, I try to do content, and then you know, as I was
preparing, you do it for real, in real life.
And there's not that many people out there that kind of do the same thing or do similar things. You know what I'm saying, within the city of Charlotte. And one thing that gravitated me towards Mia was the fact that she was doing a lot of these things. A lot of guys you're seeing the So Anxious, shout out to So Anxious. We're gonna plug that in a second. So Anxious. We're gonna talk about that in a second. But she's focusing on her show and the production with that lately. But you haven't been able to see her. She's done hosting. She's done content, do podcasts. You had segments and shows, interviews, all multimedia stuff. So she's really been everywhere, and we're gonna talk about that. But you literally do and did a lot of everything.
Yeah, my hand was like this, and then I just kind of was like, okay, all right,
So the first question I wanted to ask you, with that, so. Has media kind of always been a first love for you?
You know what? I don't really know. I don't really think it will. Maybe subconsciously.
Subconsciously?
But it wasn't like forefront.
Okay.
I love to write poetry.
Okay.
And I loved music.
Okay.
And those were the two things that I knew consistently I could creatively write. And I had a wild ass imagination. And then I loved music. I've always loved music.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Yeah, I've seen the record collection.
Yeah.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda...
I've always loved music, and so I would say more so that.
Okay.
But I've always kind of loved TV and loved to watch shows and like. I think a thing I just recently like unpacked within my like brain was when I was younger and I used to like hear music, I would in my head try to create what the video would look like. I used to do that.
Okay.
That's a thing I've recently unpacked. So I mean, yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to Whit in a previous interview, and we were talking about. I was saying how as a child, you know, you're watching TV. You know, as a child, you're watching TV and you're discouraged as a child. Oh, go outside and go play and go do that. But that child might actually like have an interest within like media
and like create those things,
right?
And like see something that really we don't see.
Yeah,
we just see the hour, which is the kid watching TV. But what if they're soaking in something that's really going to be
right?
I think you should like try to cultivate
right.
That.
So the reason why I asked that at first is because people just don't like, oh, I want to be in media, or I want to host, or I want to do content. There's like a birthplace for that, and there's not a lot of media niggas like people that are, you know, are in love with any type of media in like different mediums. But there's not a lot of people out there. So the reason why I asked that is because I'm like, what kind of spawned, you know, the hosting and the content? Like, was there a thought?
Poetry and music.
It was just poetry and music.
Music I've always loved, but somehow I used to always want to be a doctor.
I said that to previous. I said I used to want to be a doctor, lawyer, firefighter, all that stuff when you growing up.
I used to want to be a doctor all the way up till 5th grade, and I heard I'm a huge fan, y'all. Destiny's Child, the Survivor album, and something in me sparked. I started writing songs.
Can you sing?
I started writing songs.
She can sing? Ooh.
I started writing songs. I became like super obsessed with like Destiny's Child, and I loved what they did. I don't know. And music was always around for me. And I just became super interested in being on stage. Like I just know I was gonna be famous. Like I'm gonna be famous. I'm gonna be a singer. It went from a doctor to a singer.
Yeah.
And it's never changed back to a doctor. It has, you know, moved.
Vacillated.
You know, with singing. I don't necessarily want to be a singer, but writing songs, being on stage, being able. I think is producing your own content allows you the freedom to like do what you want. Right. So I think poetry, hosting and stuff that I used to get on stage and perform my poetry in front of like big crowds. So it just kind of kept turning from it. I'm good at public speaking. It kept turning, and it just kept churning and like building off of those things. So.
I did poetry slightly in a bit, but in college.
Come on, well let's.
It's all about girls. That's all it was. It's all literally. It's an Instagram page. If you
get the honeys.
It's an Instagram page called Drew the Poet that I made in like college.
Wait, is it still up?
It's still up.
Okay,
You can go there, and you can, and it's like whole stuff from like my note sections from poems I write and used to perform at Wingate and all that stuff. So but it was all about girls.
Fly.
Nah, see, I stopped doing it because it was just all about girls. Literally, I could write a poem in like 30 minutes, like
about girls.
Yeah, it's just
that's fine. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You should write a book with it called A Book About Poems About Girls. That's what the book should be called, A Book About Poems About Girls.
Yeah, but I kind of had a similar story with you about music, because coming into college, I wanted to do sports broadcasting. I wanted to be like the next Stuart Scott. I wanted to do sports broadcasting. And then I don't know what happened when I went to college. Like I think that was like the whole 2011, 2012, like the whole mixtape era.
I wanted to be in broadcasting too.
Yeah.
But I know what happened.
You're the same person.
My grades were crap.
You don't need good grades. You don't need
to be accepted in the
school of
No. In the School of Broadcasting with app.
Oh.
It's very competitive. and they only accept a certain amount.
See.
And so if your grades are not up to par, then you're not up to a certain amount, and I wasn't. And I remember applying and not hearing back in a long time. I was like, dang, they never hit me back. And I'm talking about like we're well into the semester. And I went to my counselor and I was like, hey, like what is this supposed to look like when they like reach back out? She was like, oh, if you haven't heard anything, that means no. And I was so devastated because I was always like, I'm gonna be the next Oprah, and I'm like, oh, now I can never do. I was like really sad. And I was like, what am I gonna? Why am I in college again?
Right.
Because I couldn't do that. But then it also dawned on me. I talked to a couple people, and they were like, Oprah Winfrey didn't go to school to do what she did. And I was like, right. I'm just gonna have to kick in the door another way.
Right.
And I kicked in the door another way.
Right. So that was kind of okay.
It kind of worked out for me.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a bad thing. I just think it's like not this way. This way.
Right.
Type thing.
I think like with me, so I don't know what was the change, but it was that mixtape era, 2011, 2012. And I started a blog. I used to get called the Music Head on Lee's campus. I used to get all the pirated music. I put myself out there, but it's 10 years. So 10 years. What's that? The statute of limitations?
Yeah.
So I used to get a lot of pirated,
past that.
Music, and used to make a website or make a blog and say, oh yeah, this just came out, this just got leaked, this Kendrick Lamar out, whatever. I used to do that. And
that's
that
fly.
I used to do that on Lee's campus. It wasn't that big, but like people knew.
But imagine, you know.
Yeah, so that's where that kind of started for me. Like, okay, music journalism, because I always wanted to do journalism, but I really started to get enamored with like the culture, and that's when I really started like switching to like interviewing. So it's really crazy. So can you talk about? So you said one of your inspirations was Oprah, right? You want to be Oprah growing up. What other inspirations did you have that has led her to you?
A lot of people. You just keep growing. I have a thing with like people in my family, inspiring me, especially my grandmothers. My grandmothers are like incredibly inspirational to me. I talk highly of them. One passed in 2016 and the other one is still living, but I am in awe of them. To be half of them, Drew. I mean, I'm doing well. I know that Oprah, I don't know if I was just, she was an inspiration, but it was more so like, wow, like this black woman is like, like really killing y'all. Like, that's really what it was.
Right.
Wow, she really out here like making like stacks on stacks.
Right.
And all she does is talk. That's really what, my girl talks and makes stacks. My girl opens her mouth and there's money. And I think I was just in awe of that because all I ever do is talk, but I'm not making that much money, so I gotta make it make sense.
Right.
That's Nikki Giovanni. I have always loved her. In terms of music, Marvin Gaye. I'm really obsessed with like super creative people and people who are just like I kind of do what I want, or like thinkers.
I got a Marvin Gaye book over there.
Yeah, I do too. The one from his ex-wife.
No, it's not. It's a booklet from one of the albums. Like a compilation from one of his albums. Since I work in music, we get like keep extra stuff sometimes. And I'll show it to you.
Yeah,
so it has pictures of him creating and stuff.
I gotta see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I tell you, when I always get asked questions like this, I feel like I know, but then I forget. Cicely Tyson. Yeah. A bunch of black glamour women during that time. Oh, so beautiful. There's just a lot of pride in that.
Yeah. So with juggling, like you said, your hands be in different pots. You do this over here, this over there. What was it like? What is it like? We had a conversation about this on Tuesday. But what was it like kind of like balancing? Like, what's it like? Okay, I want to do so many different things, but I can't all do so many different things at once. Like, how did you, because you like, if you guys look at her social media, you see it's just focused on one particular thing, but she's a woman of many talents. So can you just kind of talk about that process of siphoning down? I have so much abilities, but I'm just gonna focus on one right now. And like, what's that process for you like?
I was working this job part time that I didn't really like, and the guy who owns the company was like, "You should read this book. I'll bring it for you." And he brought it the next day. It was black. So I think it was like a hardback with like the covered the joints on it, but
Mm-hmm.
he had lost it or something. So it's just this black book. It wasn't too thick or nothing. And it was called The One Thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, cool. I busted open. It's probably the game changer for me, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
That's the book that was like, do. Like before then, it was like wild, and my hand was still in everything. But The One Thing kind of taught me to focus on the one thing, literally. And even though I could tell you, Drew, no, don't do all that, focus on the one thing,
Mm-hmm.
there's not really reasons why. Like, why should I?
Right.
And honestly, when you think about it, when there's a lot of good things, you're like, yes, there's a lot of good things, I'm going to hit the lottery. But it really
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
It really works with, there's this one thing that I have all of this energy and time for, and can grow and can love and can kiss and nurture and mwah, and the attention, and it's going to be amazing. And that's what the book teaches is there's not really a such thing as multitasking. There's not really a such thing as like, because something's going to get missed. Something's going to get left behind.
Right.
Something is going to, and if you are paying attention to the one thing, then you know you don't have to be like, I got to do this today.
Right.
Whatever you're doing is focusing on that one thing.
Mm-hmm.
It may be a couple things, but it's for that one.
Right.
You're not like, I got to do this over here for this, then this over here for this. Like, what I do now happened because I read that book.
Yeah.
Before then, at 50 zillion, all those things you list, I was doing all of them.
Yeah.
Every last one. And not to say that I don't love them and didn't choose them, but I
Right.
knew I had a lot of ideas and I knew that a lot of them could grow. But I said, well, what's the one thing you think that you could do and like change your life in the long run, which is basically what the book was saying. What's the one thing that you could do every day that by doing it you change your life?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I think my life can be changed if I go after this.
Yeah.
So I did.
Yo, so I got a question for you. Do you want to create high quality content but you don't have the resources to do so? My name is drewmouzon, the founder of That's Genius Media, and I want to help you accomplish your goal. I started here and I'm currently here. So I know what it's like to be without the resources to be able to create that dope content. I'm looking for small business owners and content creators looking to get their start creating content. I have 5+ years of content creation experience, and I have the high quality equipment that you need in order to accomplish your goal. So I want you to hit my email below and let's get started on your genius idea today. Peace.
Within like doubling down, you know, to just one thing, were you now confident into just doing one thing? Like, or how did that make you feel? Because me, I started doing one, I'm like, oh my God, I'm not doing enough.
Yeah. I think it's scary. It's scary because it doesn't really give you the opportunity to fall back on something, right?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the times why creators have a lot of things going is because they're like, one of them is gonna hit, instead of being like, this is the one thing that's gonna hit, and having faith in it enough in that one thing. So it causes you to like heighten your faith. Like all of that, what you did, that 25%, you're taking it from all your pots and you're like dumping it into that one pot. And you're like, that goes with faith, that goes with belief in yourself and what you're creating, that goes in work, time, all of that. It goes into that. So it's scary as hell because you're like, but what if it doesn't?
Yeah, what if it doesn't hit?
But you have to have belief in it enough, and almost like a kid. Like, I love you enough to where, like, we're going to get this right.
Yeah.
That didn't work, but, like, let's try this. And, like, please, let's be clear. I was nervous all the time. I am nervous still. Like, just jumping, but a lot of times it's just jump. Just jump. Just jump in that, whatever that one thing is, like, just...
So I mentioned it earlier. Could you kind of talk about what that one thing is for you now?
Yeah. So the one thing for me now is So Anxious.
Come to the internet.
No, seriously.
Very serious.
My web series So Anxious. I started actually 2020 in the dead heat of COVID.
Really?
I had just finished having my hands in like other things, and I remember just feeling like very just like over it, like not inspired, not influenced, like just and didn't want to do it anymore. Mind you, I had only been doing it since January, so from like January to May, and then I was like, this does not make me like excited to do, and that's very important for me. Like I gotta be motivated.
Yeah.
If I'm not motivated, I'm like,
yeah,
I'm probably not gonna give you my all.
Yeah.
So I stopped, and then I remember 2017. I had thought of the idea So Anxious. I was like, that'd be really cool if I did like a little TV show, like a mini-series probably. And like, it's about anxiety. I deal with anxiety, but I don't think a lot of Black people talk about it a lot.
Right.
So I was like, I talk about it, but I'd also kind of poke fun at myself. Because you also can't just like abruptly throw things in Black people's face. So I was like, now I've got to, figure out a way. So 2017, fast forward 2020, in the heat of COVID, and I didn't know when I was gonna do it, but like the time like that flickered and said, okay, no, do it now. I just watched Beyonce, Black is King, the little Lion King joint she did. I became stupid inspired, and so I was like, I think I'm gonna shoot the show. I'm gonna start shooting it. And I called Whitney, and I said, Whitney, can you shoot a show like by yourself and star in it? And she was like, well, mind you, we're not like deep friends at this point, right? We're not where we are now. So she gave me like the like nice G version of her. If I would have called and asked her that now, she would literally be like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Why would you do that? Mia, why would you not ask them? Rah, 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 rah. That's what would happen now. But then she was just like, I think you should ask someone to help you and like shoot it for you so like you can do what you need to do on your end. And so Leah and Whitney, I think Whitney first season shot 2 episodes and Leah shot the rest.
Oh wow.
And it was on the iPhone, and it was literally just
start off the iPhone.
Yeah, and just I was like, okay, let's go for it. I think it's a great idea. I really bought into the show.
Right.
And I really see what it could be, and I really see what it could do.
Yeah.
Even though some days I'm scared, but I really see what it could do, and so I was like, no, let's do it. No, let's go. And
yeah, the rest is history.
The rest is literally history.
But I want to hit on a point. You had said you started on the phone. How important is it to like a lot of people in this day and age, creatives, they want this to start.
Yeah.
When I started on the iPad, it used to be a bit like a desk right over there. Used to have an iPad folded up on my mom's work computer, and used to fold it up and lean it on the laptop and have a wooden chair with bad posture, no microphone, plain background. This room used to be painted a whole nother color, and used to start shooting videos.
Well, here's the thing. I think it's kind of like what parents do. And I used to like really get annoyed with my parents about this, but I feel you. I see you. Shout out to parents. They would be like, I'm not putting money into that for you to be done tomorrow. I'm not buying this for you to play with it one time and then next week.
Right.
So I think that also gives you time to really feel out what you love and what you want to do. When it gets tough, it's cool. I wasn't having to go back and tell no production team, no cameraman, nothing. I'm feeling bad today. I don't think I'm going to do this no more. I'm out of here. I would have just folded up my phone and gone about my business.
Right.
So I think it also was a test of like how in it are you, like, and so you don't always have to start off with like, guys, like there's a lot of things that you just wait a second. Just give yourself learn, experience, learn. And everything, I promise you, if you're really supposed to be doing it, everything that you need, you will have.
Yeah.
It will come. You will have every step of the way. I think we talked about that too.
Yeah.
Every step of the way, whatever you need. If you're supposed to be doing this, you'll have it. It'll show up in like ways, like don't necessarily be like, it should show up like that, because it's not. But it's gonna be there when you need it.
Yeah.
Right when you need it. Right. So I think that's exactly how I got to season 2 with the film company that I use. When it was time for me to have those things, they showed up.
Right.
In the meantime, I got my phone. I'm about to What? We about to knock this out. Don't it look like?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so not being afraid of bigger beginnings, not being afraid of to just do that.
No, that's the fun time.
Is it?
I think it is.
That's the most humble time.
It's humble, but it's like
it's
fun, like coming up with ways to like do stuff.
Yeah. Nigga rig some stuff.
Yeah, I edited like season 2. I edited all of season 1. Like it literally was us and our like.
Yeah.
You know, so it's fun.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun.
So with that, can you go into what So Anxious is about?
So Anxious is about being black and being woman in this day and age, dealing with anxiety. It's a conversation that's not had. It's a conversation that if it's had, you're usually told, scram, what you're feeling is not real, or it's legitimacy. There's usually people who don't have any coping mechanisms or like to figure out how can we deal with this. Like, how do we deal with this? Now that there's anxiety, how do I navigate it? And so it was basically kind of like to show relatable, like to let people know, hey,
you're not alone.
You're not alone. I'm navigating it. I'm day by day trying to figure it out. I have coping mechanisms. I'm in therapy. Everything that I do to try to handle it and like comb it out. So that was the whole point of it. It's just relatability, help people, inspire people, influence people, and start the conversation really. Yeah.
So can you talk about how it has evolved as well? Because you're doing something special that we a lot of people, this day and age don't really do, especially putting it on by yourself. You talk about how the show has evolved. So now it's not only just a web show, but it's also
a production. So it evolved. So season 1, season 2 web series all on YouTube.
Right.
And then there's on stage and everything is live. So it's similar to the web series in that it's talking about a black woman with anxiety.
Yeah.
But it differs in that I've gotten a lot deeper.
Yeah.
I've revealed like what anxiety looks like, and oftentimes what form it comes, but we don't even realize it. I don't think there's enough stories told about the black experience in general.
There's not.
I don't think there's enough.
In a creative way.
In a creative way, and in a way that we can intake that, right? And we get it, and we're like, oh, something that's relatable. I get that. I've been there. There is not enough of that.
Right.
And it's not enough of it told from black people. Like we control the narrative.
Right.
So this is a black woman controlling the narrative.
Right.
This is a black woman saying, yeah, black people like this. Personally, my personal experiences, cultural experiences, and to have it all written down and through the art of storytelling, through the art of graphic content and pictures and conversation with the audience, really telling the story and really trying to tell it from a relatable standpoint, so relatable and so intentional that even down to the graphics that I've used and the pictures that I've used, they come from the people in my family. These are real family members. These are not, I did not know, no copyright issues here.
She like, nah, you ain't gonna give me my coin, it's my coin.
I can name these people, well, most of them. But yeah, went on the hunt with like my grandparents and aunts and uncles, like getting pictures and my mom and my dad, and just our stories collectively and how it kind of influenced who I am, talking about mental health and how we usually cope with it, and how we've got to, like, the truth is we've got to really like understand this better. We've got to talk about it. Things don't get better by just not talking. You have to really address them at the root. So this is literally a form of group therapy and addressing the issue like at the root.
So what has the prep been like? Because niggas ain't never put on no show before. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't never put on no show before.
I ain't never put on no show before. So what does prep like?
Prep is wild because, yes, I've done 2 seasons of a web series, but a production I've never done.
Right.
Like, I done did, like, church plays. Like, if I done did, like, an Easter.
Good job, baby.
Yeah, I done did, you know, blah, blah, blah. But I ain't never done nothing.
Right.
This, you know. Hell, I used to go to the Spirit Square to watch in different shows and different performances, and now to be there, it's kind of still not. I don't think it's really in me yet. Like,
hitting you yet?
Yeah, not really yet. But it's been crazy. Everything has been a learning experience, and some things have been me trying to trust myself and learning to trust myself more. Again, with that thing I told you, with the one thing, believing in it, that my belief is so stupid for it that, and I think that is the case. Like, even when I doubt myself some days, my belief in the show is so outrageous that I thought that I deserved the Duke Energy Theater to put it on. And this is my first time.
And like the crazy thing is about it, like with her belief, like she's literally like, I'm one of those people that tells people to post about your stuff every single day. Every single day you're gonna hear about So Anxious. Because you believe in it that much.
Well, I believe in it, but like, it's my one thing.
Right.
I can't talk about anything else I'm doing. Anything else I'm doing, like, guys, that's it.
Right.
Ta-da! Like, if I'm doing something else, it's like writing a poem or writing a song, but that's because that's just an outlet. I'm not, there's nothing else to even share. I've cleaned, like, it's impossible for me to, it's not even up for grabs. I believe in it. This is the only thing I'm focused on. It's not even.
Hopefully I get to that place.
I mean, do I need to get my phone and Amazon you the book? Cause I Amazon it.
Nah, cause it's just like, you know, I wouldn't say I'm in so many pots. Like, I used to have like 3 shows going on at one time, and then a homie
but like even the thought of that is very like exhausting.
And then I had a homie named Dave Butler who was like, bro, why don't you? Because I had this show, I had a show called Chopping It Up, I had Tapped In, Chopping It Up, and Walk With It. Yeah. It was it before the song came out? It was around the song, but it was literally, and all of it was like interview types of shows, but Tapped In was for like creatives. Like, I would put you on Tapped In. Chopping It Up might be for the homie that may not be doing something creative, but I'm want to eat with you, talk with you, whatever. And then Walk With Drew was strictly faith. He was like, bro, why don't you just combine it all into Walk With Drew? I'm like, okay, because people just really, because Walk With Drew was a pandemic inspiration. A
lot of people things came out of pandemic.
Yeah, I was like, let me start a show. You know what I'm saying? And people just caught on to it, and but literally, I morphed this into one show, but still at the same time, it's hard for me to put like other things down, even though I want to. Like, I'm doing that one thing. Like, I'm focusing on Walk With Drew, and I'm focusing on like another show. One thing and maybe 2 things, but it's not like I'm not doing 11 things like I was doing before. So I'm getting there, but it's a
Don't worry
whole
about
hell of a lot.
You're my Amazon, but what's your address?
Beep, beep, beep. You know what I'm saying? So, if you could talk, so you said you've done poetry, you did songwriting, you've done the hosting, you've done this, you've done that, you wrote all the stuff, videos. What's your favorite part of the creative process?
Life.
Can you remember that quote you told me about creativity and from a sacred place? Remember that? Whatever that quote was, you said something.
Well, I don't necessarily know if it's a quote, but I
not a quote from you, but quote from you, yeah.
Creating, I hate when people are just like, you could just do it. You could just do, and you're like, that comes from a very sacred and like a space inside of you. Creating, it really does.
Right.
It really is. It's not just, you know, it looks like we can put a pen to the paper and then like write out whatever we want, but it comes from a space that after we're done, it's like, ooh. And you got to build, like, these things have to build, you know, we have to do things to, I think our mind is very like,
Yeah.
It's a sacred, safe space that we're always utilizing, that we're always pulling from.
Right.
And yes, it I'm not even gonna front. It can come easy, very easy. But it comes from like a different place that I don't think most people who aren't creatives are always, they don't understand that.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about creating is watching it come to life.
Yeah.
I literally told Whitney, I said, I see why God keeps making us. He enjoys the creative process. He enjoys making us and watching us out and about and living like, wow, I did that. Take a look. Mm-hmm. Take a look at Drew.
Right.
I made that.
Right.
He loves that. And that's how I feel about my work. Even though in my very like, I don't feel like it, or being like, I'm very much like, I did that.
Yeah.
Wow. Just watching it come to life, like it was here and now it's here.
Right.
The beauty of that alone is here to hear what?
Right.
What?
Yeah.
What?
The phrase is Jesus finished the work. The choices are A, John 19:30, B, Hebrews 9:28, C, Matthew 8:17. 3, 2, 1. Remember your righteousness.
Is it A?
Yeah. Dang. All right. Yeah.
Nah, because I've been in the book of John, so that's why I'm able to realize.
Right. Is it 15 or 30?
Oh, it's 30 seconds.
I'll go for it.
All right. I am no longer a slave. I am a son. A, 2 John 1:2. B, Romans 8:17. Or C, Galatians 4:7. 3, 2, 1. Remember your righteousness.
C.
Yup. I figured that's what it was too.
Was it fun?
It's cool because it kind of, I just learned the Bible too at the same time.
Right.
And you even go to that verse, like if you got it wrong, you feel like what was it, and then you go to the verse and read it, so you learn it at the same time.
I think I was telling Whit beforehand. My favorite part is when it's done.
Okay. All right. Y'all, he loved it for real, y'all.
When it's done, no, just because it's like I love when I get that idea.
Yeah.
And you see it in full.
Yeah.
In your head. But where God gets you is like, okay, yeah, I showed you
that in between.
That in between, you don't see. You see it done.
You see the finished Legos,
right?
And all you got a bunch of little Legos. And you're like, okay,
how do I make this masterpiece? How does this come to how does this come to life? So I agreed like with the life point, but I'm like, I also am like when it's like a finished product, because it's just like it goes back to the whole God thing, like. The fact that we're able to see something in our heads, and then you could be touching that same thing that you saw.
Sorry.
Yeah.
This was Steve's job. It was like this in his head.
Mm-hmm.
This was an idea before it was anything.
Right.
30 years ago, this was nothing but an idea. What? Okay, sorry.
And then you're fine.
Very mind-boggling.
Yeah, but it's wild.
It's
at the same time that
wild.
you could think of something and then put it into practice, right? It is.
Well, I guess I mean, like, hold up. I want to go to church to
go ahead,
I mean, God, He spoke it, and then it was like He spoke it.
Didn't I tell you that at that meeting?
Because you were talking about from
the power of words.
Yes, the words. So like, it was nothing.
Right.
And then it's something.
Right.
And then that the words can do that.
Yeah.
That our very thoughts.
Hold power.
Oh.
Yeah.
It just keeps getting wilder and wilder.
Right.
This journey.
So moving to another segment, segue to another. I want to talk about consistency. One thing with you is you're very consistent. She's a very consistent individual. When it comes to something she believes in, she's all in it, all work. She's very consistent. Can you talk about the role, especially in promoting and putting out your seasons? I saw that you were very consistent, kind of like I was when I was still doing Walk With You for season 2. I was every week, every day. Hey, look at this, buy that, do this, whatever. Can you talk about the role consistency plays within your creativity?
I had to learn consistency. Like that is not something. And in fact,
not innate?
No, it's not. It's not. It's not. Everyone. In fact, I think at one point in my life, I prayed for consistency. I was asked, and I was like, I'm just not. In other parts of my life, this very moment, like today, I'm not consistent with not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it has something to do with, I think I say in the show somewhere, growing pains. I would get growing pains.
Yeah.
But I finally found something that I loved enough.
Yeah.
To where, like, the pain, like, that wasn't nothing. Like, consistency wasn't nothing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do it. Like, you know? And I'm not saying every day I want to post or do videos or anything. Ask Whitney as a manager. She literally is some days pulling teeth with me. But I think you grow in a space where, like, you love that thing.
Yeah.
You love it. You're my kid. You're nurturing. This is, come on.
Right.
And I think when you see the bigger picture, it's not for right now.
Yeah.
You being consistency, and even just if you tried it for 3 days, there's all you see. Like, you see very small pieces of change. You're like, wow, okay,
Mm-hmm.
cool. And then I think one time a girl commented on Instagram and said it's the consistency, and I was like,
After the fact.
I'm consistent.
Right. Finally.
Right.
Right.
But I don't want anyone ever in the whole planet to think that we're born with just
That's good.
consistency.
Right.
You got to stretch that muscle. You have to work that muscle. You have to do things. It really takes practice.
Yeah, and it's a burden and a blessing too at the same time. Because I'm like, I remember like that when you get those comments, those come after years or months of doing something. You don't think nobody's looking at you.
I didn't even think that I was consistent
because they're not paying attention to. They're not necessarily paying attention to like what is this you're doing, but the fact that they're seeing your name pop up every single day, it's like okay, it's the consistency. I may not be buying it yet. But it's the consistency.
But she's very consistent.
Yeah, she's very consistent. That's literally what it is. Because half y'all don't be buying. People don't be buying stuff.
Not getting on y'all.
You know what I'm saying? Half people don't be buying some sport stuff, but they see the consistency of you doing it. You know, and
also you gotta respect some consistency, some good old consistency. I respect it. Like that's one of the best. Like I love seeing somebody like chopping at the same piece of wood for 14 years, like consistent until they get exactly what they want.
Right.
That. Watching other people do that,
it
amazes me. I like watching. I'm like, they're still going. It's kind of starting to look like what they wanted it to look like. You see that? I love that.
No.
I love it.
What's the last question I got, Shawty? We talked about so much so far. Talked about that. Talked about credit funds. Talked about expectation. Talked about me a love live. Yeah, we haven't talked about Me a Love Live productions yet. We've talked about So Anxious, but we haven't really talked about Me a Love Live productions.
Me a Love Live productions. I realized that I do a lot of like creating content, web series, stuff like that. So basically, whatever I'm doing, I'm creating. So I wanted a hub for it to fall under.
Yeah.
And I'm Me a Love Live. So I made Me a Love Live Productions, which is just create all the content, all. And one day, ideally, I want that to be my own, my own network. I just kind of feel like if Oprah can have her own network, then where's mine? If TBS can have a network, where is my network? Right. That's really how I feel. And so, starting there, I've actually been toying with the idea of just, because my YouTube channel right now is So Anxious Me a Love Live, but just being Me a Love Live.
Me a Love Live.
That's a start. That's the seed, is that I can see the network through YouTube under Me a Love Live. I can see that with all the things like any content I've ever done. I can see that being a thing. So Me a Love Live, like it's a home name. Yeah. Just wait.
And that's the thing that like another thing that like had drew me to me. It was just like network. She like I seen some video you had posted about. It was long. I scrolled through Instagram. I was about to say
that video was a while. It was like 2019.
Yeah, she had long hair, long flowy.
I did.
Hair. I was like. Same person, but she was talking about the network and things of that nature. I'm like, where we connected is I don't know that many people that like envision and like actually say that you're the only person besides me that know, like, oh yeah, I want to have a network. I want to have a production company. Oh yeah, I want to see TV shows. I want to flip on DirecTV and I want to see my network, and I want to produce content and stuff like that. So that's like one of the things I like doing to her, because it's like we have similar interests, and it's great seeing you like flesh that out. Like, cause like it's so much inspiration. Like I say that you're a go, and I say that you're a creative genius, and I really mean that. But it's like it's so dope to really see like you fleshing that out, because there's a lot of people out there that want to have networks and I want to do that or whatever, but and I'm included in that, you know, but we haven't really fleshed out that first show. I haven't really, like I say, I want to write shows all the time.
Well, that's a part of the thing with the one thing. That goes back to the one thing.
Right.
You gotta believe in and love it so much that you're gonna be like, this could really be it. Like this can. And it's not, I think it was too, for me, I felt like I was shading everything else that I...
Yeah, like I don't want niggas know I felt, like I feel like I felt, that's just me. If I stop doing one thing, I'm like, man, niggas will think I felt off and I ain't just...
Well, at the end of the day, too, it wasn't even about what niggas thought to me. I stopped posting completely on anything that I was creating. It was just like, if I counted how many posts I had from the last time I had posted about one of my podcast shows to the first time that I had actually posted about something I created again, which was So Anxious. Couple pictures, and then random pictures about like maybe like me, but like it wasn't. And I also kept in mind too, this bigger than me posting these little things about little things. I want people to go to that one thing for now, the one thing. I want them to go to that thing and like associate it, like okay. Every time I hear him now, it ain't. Yeah. Oh, I saw you at this. No, you didn't.
It's so.
I'm literally focused on this. Yeah. There's no way that.
Yeah.
Where that other merch from that other show? It ain't none. Go right here. Where's that? Where's that?
I gotta get there.
Where that other episode of that other show you did? Yeah. There's not one. Check the other night for the episode of So Anxious. Yeah. Like.
I gotta get there.
You will. It takes time.
It takes time. It's just and letting go too, but also.
Told you I'm an Amazon the book. The one thing. Let me know if you. Hey.
It might be sitting up there about some books.
Oh no!
I got a lot of books up here. I ain't ready yet.
We gotta start a book club with you.
I need to start reading more. I need to get out there. I be watching content all the time. But I appreciate you coming through and just talking with me. This is an interview I've been wanting for a minute, just because, like I said, it's not on the kindred spirit type stuff, but we here. Like we here. Like when it comes to like doing this media stuff and just really just want to pick your brain and just like and just get some content out for the audience, people who don't know who you are, and just about. Like, I think that's what people are going to get from this interview is, like, focusing on that one thing and believing in that one thing, and then just watch where that takes you.
Seriously, do it and also get the book. Like...
She don't even get paid from the book.
Not even, but listen, bro, if you out there and you have...
Whoever you are, you create the one thing.
I can't think of his name right now, but you know who you are. Yeah. And if it's two authors, so, like... Ring the line if you. I'm just kidding, but it really is a great book. Like I don't want anything else. I really just want people to understand that is the thing that like it changed the game. That was a game changer in COVID, but that was the game changer.
So what is next for Mia Love Live for the rest of this year?
Next is touring, like booking shows. Yes, this is my brain on anxiety, the detailed experience of an anxious Black woman. It is just the one show right now, but we are in the works of like we coming, we trying to get there, we trying to come. So and also be on the lookout sometime next year for season 3 of So Anxious.
That'd be dope. I appreciate you coming through. If you could, shout out to social media and where we could buy tickets at too as well.
Guys, let me just say this before I shout out my social media. I think it's very funny how like celebrities and like people can just like blah 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 down their social media. I have to really think about it, so give me a second. I am on Facebook, Mia McClure. Okay. I am on Instagram at Mia Love Live. The show actually has an Instagram as well. So Anxious. See, there we go.
Is it this My Brain on Anxiety show?
This is My Brain on Anxiety show. Then I am on
YouTube.
I'm on YouTube. I'm on all of it.
You know, everywhere. Just type Mia Love
Listen,
Live. You
hey,
gonna see it.
Drew, right here.
Yeah, I'm gonna put everything. It's gonna be in the description.
Follow me.
Yeah, it's gonna be everywhere. But yeah, I appreciate you coming through and sharing all this good stuff.
Absolutely.
And then yeah, but for you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. This was another episode of Walk with Drew. My name is DrewMouzon. This is Mia Love Live, and we will see you next time. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace out.